to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Ebro in the Morning, Laura Stiles, Rosenberg, friend of the show, Fat Joe.
That's right.
Back on the program.
Damn right he is.
Before we get into all the stuff, new book.
Book of Jose comes out November 15th. Story of my life, total transparency. I didn't want nothing to ever happen to me and some corny guy tell my story.
I like that.
And not tell the truth. You know, the reason why I got into doing IG and all that is because I used to watch documentaries about hip hop and it wasn't factual. Like I was born in the Bronx. Like I'm looking at this thing and then I'm like, and then at the end, the executive producers, several of them, were people we love and respect on another level. So I never said nothing about it.
Right.
But I was like, oh, so people could change history and change it into their own narrative.
That's right.
And so that's why I said, you know what? I want to start documenting stuff so that if the kids want to know 50 years from now, did Snoop Dogg really do it? I'll get him on there and talk to him to see if he really did it. Right. And so my book is a testimony of my life. I went through so many dark places, so many dark times. Meanwhile, I was smiling for everybody, performing. You know, we doing Lean Back, and Bruce Willis is going like this, and in the Bronx, they trying to frame me for a murder at the same time. But I never told you guys. You know, so I just thought it was important to let people know you could go through dark times and still have a smile, as well as I just, you know, my life's a movie. So I really wanted to tell it. The biggest fear of doing this book was people not believing me. There's some insane stories in the book.
You do have crazy. You have a little bit of Forrest Gump. You know what I mean?
I am Forrest Gump.
You are Forrest Gump. Like, you've been around everything.
I'm glad you brought that up because one of the things I wanted to ask you about today is because you are a showman. You are an entertainer. From early on, you as
Jackie
an artist.
Gleason. Jackie Gleason.
There you go. You decided like, yo, I have my street. I have where I came from, right? And boom. But when it comes to this rap thing, I'm going to make great songs. I'm going to make the best songs that I can make, right? With the best people making songs. And I'm always going to show up and put on a show.
That's right.
Right? And so you leaned into that. But when it comes to this next part, I got to ask you of this next chapter of your life, book writing, interviewing, TV deals. I mean, hosting, you're sitting with Stephen A., the great Stephen A. Smith, in conversation. Do the stories of your past, like, pop into your head and you're like, yo, I got to share that? Like, or do you, you know what I mean? Because I know for me, like, there's shit I don't remember, then one day I'll be like, yo, that fucking happened.
Yeah, so what, wow. Imagine you got to telling stories. And so it's like different conversations spark different, stuff I didn't remember that's insane.
Right.
You know, I'll give you one. You know, what's this guy's, the guy's in jail forever now, the Me Too movement. What's the guy?
Harvey Weinstein?
Harvey Weinstein. I'm flying to LA 10 weeks in a row meeting with these guys. We're about to do the next American Idol. Okay? This is a true story. I'm flying to LA every week, meeting with this guy. It's a big show. Me and somebody else was partners. You use your imagination. The biggest ever said, Joe, let's partner up. I finally get in the meeting where this guy starts talking about how much money I'm going to make. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I've always made money, you know, but I've never made that money. I'm just being honest with you. The one I want, the you could bleep it, the I don't give a fuck money.
That's right.
Right? That's what I've been going after. But I've been real good. But I want the... So the man starts talking and they talking and he's like, you know, by year 2, you're going to be making $100 million. Now
this is Harvey Weinstein telling you this.
Yes. Right, in the big meeting in Beverly Hills. And in his building, they own a building, right? When you in rap music, like you, Laura, if you brought your friends around to Fat Joe, and you know we family, you would tell your sister, yo, don't be no groupie, don't walla. That's a thing.
Yes,
That's a
absolutely.
thing. Like, the way to really be around famous people is act like you're around famous people every day. Don't get groupie down and start taking pictures because we don't want to see your cousin no more. Right? So my thing is, holding my composure at all times. When the man starts saying the numbers, I start sinking in my chair.
Oh my
sinking.
God.
Getting hot.
No, you're not even understanding. So embarrassing. I start grabbing the bottom of the table. I couldn't take it in front of all. I was like, ah! Oh my God! Like, I could not believe this was happening. Finally, someone is going to give me $100 million. I've been looking for this my whole life.
Right.
I didn't get no car. I walked 20 blocks to the Four Seasons. Like, sunny day. Like, I just could not believe it. I had to walk. And the next morning, I'm watching CNN. Breaking news, movie producer Harvey Weinstein is going to jail because of the Me Too. This. So I get on the phone, and I'm managed by Rock Nation. I'm going to say her name, but I don't really do that. But I call Des. And I'm like, yo, Des, is this the guy? Is this our guy? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, well, is the deal going on? And she's like, oh no, we would never do nothing with them no more. I said,
are you
but
sure?
cold, like regular. Like, these people make so much money.
That it's just one deal that went away.
Rock Nation, Jay-Z, it's nothing. Like, they were like, oh no, moving on. I was like, no! Does he have a cousin? Who can I do this with?
Yo.
And it was like, oh no, we're moving on. This ain't good.
Man.
It's stuff like that in my life that is just crazy. You would never believe these stories. That it's crazy, man. And so Fat Joe, there's another thing. There's the gift and the curse. So people really think I'm the realest ever. Like, I'm talking about the realest ever. Think Fat Joe's the realest ever. I cannot be the realest ever.
Right.
But they do. And so I'll be in a club and somebody will tell me in my ear, I killed such and such. I'm talking about the biggest rapper we ever had in the history of man. I'm like, yo, whoa.
Hey, yo,
I don't need to hear this.
I don't know that. I don't want to know that.
I don't care. Like, no, I don't need this.
People randomly share with you crimes they've committed.
The craziest things you've
They want
ever
validation.
seen
They want that validation.
in your
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
The
yeah.
craziest, the biggest guys you ever seen. I'm not talking about just gangsters. Guys sit down and be like, yo, Joe, you remember the movie Paid in Full and this? Yeah, I'm the one who.
Nah, you're like,
I'm
yeah,
like,
I don't
why?
want to know that. I don't want to know that.
Like, I'm Joel Osteen now. I'm not that guy, but they want validation or something where they tell me all these things, man.
You know what's funny for me, Joe, seeing you here in this place in your life? I still have moments when I stop and I can't believe that you're a household name. I still am like, it's Fat Joe the Gangsta. It's Flo Joe. Watch the sound. Shit is real. Like, it's Firewater. Like, this is, and you're a household name.
I can't believe it, but Showbiz, shout out to Showbiz, DITC. Showbiz tells me every time, him and Greg Nice, they tell me every single time they see me say, that's what you wanted. You wanted to be a superstar. I mean, they tell me this every time. They like, it was there before I had a record deal. And like, this is what you wanted. You love it. This is what you wanted.
And well, what's the answer? What's your answer?
Of course.
You do love
it. Since I got in the game, we started underground. I got my first thing was a skit. I don't know if it was Diamond's album or somewhere. I'm like, we're going to kill commercializers.
Yeah.
We're going to, it was just hardcore. Yeah. It wasn't until Pun died, R.I.P. Pun, Pun took us to another level of success.
Right.
Where we started getting before that, it was if a girl came to a Fat Joe show, she had a razor in her mouth and an army jacket. It was straight Smith & Wesson buckshot shorty.
Yes.
There's no way around it.
Yes.
On the venue, MOP, Fat Joe, buckshot shorty, right? And so when Pun made it, we were getting millions of dollars. We were doing arenas. They were actually nice girls at our show. This, that.
So still not a player was the line.
That was it. And so when he opened the door, I still, if you listen to Don Cartagena, I still didn't commercialize. I still was going to be.
I love Don Cartagena slept
I was still going to be the hardcore king.
Right.
And then when he passed away, I was like, yo, I got to step up and make these big songs if we ever want to see a stadium again.
Right.
And so that's when I started making like What's Love and We Thuggin' and stuff like that.
So was that based on surviving the game?
The whole life is surviving the game. Yo, Ebro, if you think that your position is safe,
Oh, no.
it's not.
No.
There's a young Ebro somewhere studying you like, I want to take you out. You think you're safe? You safe?
No.
Fat Joe never been safe.
But I mean, even in leaning into commercial success, right? Like deciding like, yo, I'm gonna make, because that's a conscious decision. I'm gonna make, you're a music maker. You know the difference. You're a lover of music your whole life. You know the difference between a record that's just meant to go to the streets in the club and a record that's meant to play all day for moms, dads, kids, and, you know, grandmothers and shit. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. And when you're a music maker like yourself, you know the difference. So you consciously said, no. We about to,
Yeah,
we got to
all the
make
way.
these #1 hits.
All the way. And what I'm trying to explain to you, years ago when we did like D&D All-Stars, we were there. Like Lauryn Hill was there. Like Wyclef was there. Mobb Deep was there. Like it used to be you come in person. When we did John Blaze, Nas is there. This is no Pro Tools.
What about when you hit him with, now who the fuck you think you talking to?
You had to be there. Right? And that record really catapulted my whole career. It gave me authenticity. Before that, I had FloJo, but when LL Cool J, who's also my idol,
Put you on I
goes
Shot You.
4 platinum every time, put me with Prodigy, it gave me validation, right? But I was trying to figure out what I was saying just before that.
No, when you decided to fill up these stadiums and all that, after Pump Pass.
And so what happened was, I'm not lying to you guys. We used to write music together. Me and Big L, we did The Enemy in front of each other, looking at each other. So me and Pun wrote a lot together, and he literally taught me. Literally. He'd be like, yo, you whack, man, that's basic. Yo, this, that. He was like, yo, right now we got to talk about the girls. Right now we got to talk about the things. So musically, when he passed away, I wasn't scared. I knew I could put one out the park. Because I knew the formula. The man taught me.
Got
like
you
if
ready.
you cooking, your grandma taught you, he was teaching me.
So
I'm talking about.
When people said back in the day, the line was, I know you remember it well, Fat Joe found Pun's rhyme book. That was because you elevated after Pun died. Did you take that as an insult or a compliment that you had gotten your pen that much better?
Anything that deals with Pun is a compliment. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all don't understand. I was Scottie Pippen. And Scottie Pippen was doing his work. But he was not getting as noticed because MJ was doing all this and from the line and with the tongue. So I'm keeping up with Pun. While he's Michael Jordan, I'm Scottie Pippen. Dynamic duo. And with the Big L and Digging in the Crack, these guys were spitters. You know, I was surrounded my whole career by guys, this Big L. You know,
AG.
Some people say he the best ever. I'm honest with you. People tell me all the time he's the best ever. I was right next to him rapping, trying to keep up with these guys. And if you said, hey, Joe, that was a cool verse, it was like, wow. It was amazing for those other guys because, you know, I'm next to the best.
Big L's skill set as a rapper, like when you go listen to what he was saying and doing and punchlining and how he was saying and doing it was...
he was special.
It was special. It was special.
You know, I was there when Biz Markie brought out Big Daddy Kane for the first time. And he did the supercalifragilistic. Guys were literally, at that time, hip-hop was cool. You know, it wasn't so hardcore. It was the Benetton bag time. Guys were literally trying to run up the wall. Like, you know, this is when people were dancing. And they was trying to run up the wall like we couldn't believe what we saw. I was there when Big Daddy Kane brought out Jay-Z for the first time. I was there when The Outsiders brought out Eminem for the first time. I was there when Lord Finesse brought out Big L for the first time. And I definitely was there when Fat Joe brought out Big Pun for the first time. So when you talk about this history, you know, I've been there. I'm the Forrest Gump. That's why I say I was.
I don't know how you had to close out John Blaze after Pun delivered his verse. And Nas, by the way, Nas comes off on that record.
Stab you with the number 2 pencil.
But then Pun even if I stuttered, I would still shit on you. I don't even know how anyone else continued. Then Jada murders it. Raekwon
murders him. We shot a video in Brooklyn where I spent my whole kid's tuition.
Oh my God.
You know, I'm you know, we only here once.
Yeah.
Fat Joe's a bragger. He does it big all the time.
Did Puffy hook you up when he did Don Cartagena?
Let's talk about, that's a great story. Keep it right there. But let's talk about the Apollo Theater with Stephen A. Smith.
Yo, this guy's good.
November
Yes.
15th, when the book of Jose comes out. This is a hip-hop Bible. It's a treasure chest. Right?
And Shaheem Reed partnered up with you.
Oh,
to write this.
my
Shout out to
God.
Shaheem Reed.
Shaheem, I love you, bro. I said, Shaheem, you're going to have to bow at the Apollo. You know he's always modest and humble.
Super,
And so
yeah.
I'm like, you know, I'm going to have to put the light on you. You're going to have to bow. Because, you know, he's been writing about me. So I think he's the Walter Cronkite of hip-hop journalism, right? And so Shaheem always wrote stories that sounded like me, like with my voice. Like you could read it and be like, oh, this is Joe. Sometimes people write about you and it don't even sound like the person. So I said, Shah, I'm going to do the book. I need you to do it with me.
So you knew off the top that you wanted him to be a part
I
of
fought
it.
the book company. I fought Rock Nation. I fought everybody. They were like, yo, we already got this renowned author from, I'm like, yo, listen to me, guys. If you want a book, it's Shaheem Reed, right? Now back to you. Ask me that question again because there's a very incredible story behind it.
When you had Diddy on the Don Cartagena album.
Okay. Now, me and Biggie were brothers. Hard to believe. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The biggest problem I had writing this book is that people won't believe me. They think he's just the biggest liar in the world. But somebody co-signs. So Biggie, before he blew up, I gave Biggie Smalls his first show ever in history. I promoted him at the Fever. We've been brothers since day one. I done sat in this house in Brooklyn on milk crates.
How did you meet him?
Right? Well, I met him at the Lyricist Lounge. He went in there and battled like 20 guys and destroyed them. FloJo was already like number 1. Biggie came after me. So when I met him, he was like, yo, and I had the vinyl, and I was like, yo, and we became tight ever since. I knew he was, same Puff Daddy, invisible chain. He didn't have no money, but he was still jumping on stage like, yo, my man he was doing that, right? And so, Biggie says, yo, Joe, let's do a song. We did a whole album together, but he said, let's do a song for you, Joe. So Don Cartagena is supposed to have Biggie on there. Nobody ever heard this story. Don Cartagena is supposed to have Biggie on there. Puffy curved it and said, nah, Playboy, you do, because Biggie was number 1, number 2. He was the biggest guy on earth. So Puffy was curving it, and Biggie said, yo, Puffy hating, God. He didn't even lie. He was like, yo, he hating. He ain't trying to let me get on the song, this and that. You my brother. I go to the nightclub. I don't remember. It was somewhere where Puff and them used to be all the time. I go with some scary dudes. Oh my God. I took the animals with me. And I go, this is early Fat Joe. I don't know if I'm going to blow. I'm not rich. Big Pun ain't even blow yet. I'm like, yo, Playboy, let me holler at you right quick. So he, one of them infamous, almost a Suge Knight type of thing. Fat Joe was on that type of shit with him. Yo, Big my man, this, that. And Puff was my man. So I'm like, yo, you hating on it, this and that. He didn't lie. He turned around and said, yo, Playboy, he's number 1 and number 2, number 3. But guess what? I'll do the song with you. And that's when Puff Daddy was the biggest guy in the universe. Yeah. I was like, maybe I'll take Puff Daddy or Don Cartagena. And so that's how Don Cartagena came about.
Wow.
So really crazy. Nobody knows that story.
No,
I never told that story. It's crazy.
Puff kept it 100
though. Puff kept it 100 with you.
Kept it 100. He said, Playboy, this guy. You know, you still, but we doing, you know, we straight MOP in this. And he's like, yo, Playboy, the guy done, went through, he's out of here.
Yeah.
I'll do it. And I went gold. It was amazing for me.
Was that Don Carter Jr.'s biggest album?
No.
What's your biggest album?
Jealous One Still Envy.
Jealous One Still Envy.
That was the We Duggin'. That was the What's Love. That was all that. That album was it was tough too.
Speaking of that album though, that's I think you and Irv was cooking at that time, right?
That's right.
Yeah. How's the relationship with Irv after this whole Ashanti, all of this?
You already know
shit?
I love Irv Gotti to death. Irv Gotti came at a point in my life when my best friends is in the book. I mean, by the way, I wrote this book maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. When you read this book, Irv is gonna look like a god in this book. Like there's no way to change the words, even if he said F Fat Joe, I'm not. He is immortalized in my book, like as an angel that came and swooped down and saved my life. When Pun died, everybody was sleeping on me. The crew was falling apart. One New Year's Eve, my mother refused to move out the projects, even though I was rich. I was a multi-millionaire. She would not move out the projects. My mother, to this day, is a legend in the projects. Not gangster, just her door was open 24 hours. You could walk in there at 3 a.m. Guys were walking in there, crackheads, making sandwiches in my mother's kitchen, and like, oh, that's little Junior. That's little Juan. Like, she knew them their whole life.
Yo, Ma.
Right.
I'll get up in there and be like, I will stab the shit out of you in this kitchen right here. Yo, get the, right. Right. So one New Year's Eve, I could have been with J-Lo. She had a party down here. I could have been with J-Lo. I'm in the projects with my mother and father. Happy New Year, right? So I'm walking down the stairs. Nobody on earth would think Fat Joe New Year's Eve is in the projects. So there's a very traumatizing and one of the realest moments of my life. As I'm coming out the staircase, 4 of my best friends, I'm talking about since kindergarten. These guys, I bailed them out of jail. I paid for their mother's funerals. I paid for their lawyers. I paid their rents. When these guys was getting thrown out their houses, I was saying, these guys are talking about Fat Joe's over. He's done. Pun was the one. Joe's going to be back here with us. And it was like a novella.
You walked in on it?
Walked in on it, bro. And it was like a soap opera, like All My Children. And I'm around the corner and I'm hearing this and it's killing me on another level that you would never. These are my guys. I was rich already and I was still in the projects with these guys, playing softball, hanging out with them keeping it real, right? So I turned the corner. It was one of them, my brother Paiton, Jose, who was like, nah, Joe a hustler. Joe gonna figure it out. He gonna do what he gotta do. But the other 3 guys, they broke my heart. And I needed that. And so that day it destroyed me, but it gave me the fuel to say, you know what, I'm going to show them. I'm going to show these guys. I'm going to pull something out the park. And with Jealous One Still Envy, when Pun died, I went through a lot of depression. And I got to be honest with you. I was on my knees heavy, just praying to God. On my knees heavy. Like, I'm not ashamed to say it. On my knees was hurting. I was, please, God, let me show these people. Please, God. I thought I was your favorite, God. Please. And so, in that whole mix, I barely even know Irv Gotti. I met him one time in my life. We joked around for like 6-7 hours. We met by mistake. We both booked the same studio. Nobody got work done. We was just telling stories. I was like, oh, this guy's just like me. He's my brother. He got the greatest stories in the world. We talking.
Y'all talk the same.
And so he calls my house phone 3 a.m. I'm sleeping with my wife. It rings. Ring. yo, Joe, it's Irv Gotti. I don't know how he got my number. He said, come to the Hit Factory. So I go with my wife. These guys were Drake. Okay, there's nothing you can say about Fat Joe in the verses with Ja Rule. I knew I was going up against the Drake of my time.
Yeah.
You think I'm delirious? Like, it's my brother. I broke bread with him. They gave me the biggest bag in the world, and they said, whoever you pick gets the same bag. Yo, Ja, I got the bag, bro. Come get it. That's how that happened, right? So Irv, press play. It's What's Love? What's love? I'm like, it's yours.
Ashanti already on the hook.
Ashanti was on the hook, but they wanted me to get J-Lo on the hook. Ashanti was on the hook, but she didn't even have a record yet. She was like a referencer and a writer.
Right.
Right? And so I put her on Puns. That's how we roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Ashanti was like the studio rat. Where she be in there all the time. She was a girl in the studio. You barely even knew what she did. So one day I asked them, they was like, oh, that's the R&B artist. I was like, oh, she sings? So when we did that pun joint, she sung something I want to tell you. That's the first time I ever heard Ashanti, right? And then What's Love, I said, she sounds incredible in there. Let's leave her in there. They was like, yo, but get J-Lo, that's your sister. I was like, yo, this girl's fire.
So you never reached out to Jada?
No,
you were sure that you wanted Ashanti.
What I have is demo-itis. And once I hear a record, if I know it's a hit, don't touch it. Don't touch it. I don't want to hear the... I don't have producers come back with new bells and all. I'm like, no. What I heard's a hit. Like, do not switch up the vibe, change the drum. I know everything. When I hear it, I know you switch. I'm like, no. So it was already a hit. All I had to do was do the verses, and I came up with the bridge. You know, when they look at your eyes, there's no stopping me. I went to Donja, we crack on top. So I came up with that. And so what do you want me to say? It was one of the darkest times of my life, and Irv came down to save my life. How can I ever be upset with him? How could I ever have a problem with him? You know, he's my brother. I don't care.
And why did Ja Rule get taken off of the song?
No, he was on the song.
No, he was on the song originally, but then the radio version, it's not Ja Rule got to
It's Ja Rule.
got to do.
It's Ja Rule.
I'm gonna play it for you.
I don't know. I never did got to do.
No, it's not you.
The only version is Ja Rule.
All right, I'm gonna look this up.
But yeah, I mean, the whole Irv, it's always tough when you have a great relationship with someone and then they have a bad relationship with someone else you love. It's always tough, right? But I think, we had Ashanti on the show and she was like, Fat Joe's my brother, like, Ja's her. It's just they had a bad thing and it fucks up how everyone else comes out of it.
Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah.
You know, she's my sister. You know, you got to think, What's Love? How old is What's Love? You want to Google that?
What's
You
Love
probably know it was
is
off top.
released in 2002.
20 years.
20 years.
So for 20 years, I've been calling this girl my sister. Yeah. Some of my greatest moments in life has been with this girl. I mean, you know.
And we all been there, though, bro, where you have family members and people you love. Yeah. Everybody's good, and then two people have a bad thing, and you got to manage
What might have been wrong is me doing it on IG. Could have been a phone call, you know, or something, but I saw that and got me really, really upset. And, you know, and I responded. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, the type of respect I got for Irv Gotti and his family, his mother, his sisters, his sons. I know it's awkward. I seen the son at the Knicks game. You know, they used to run up and hug me. And I'm like, yo. And he was like, yo. He still got the yo. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's a little different because, you know, they might feel like, yo, he dissed my father, whatever the case. But I love his father. I love his whole family. I love their unit. I love how they stay together. It's a tight family. Something I had but didn't have on that level. You know, I talk in the book about my best friend, Tone Montana. Him and his father used to kiss on the lips. His father would sing salsa. And me and Tone Montana, the biggest guys, one of the biggest guys in the Bronx. I mean, we was killing them out there. And before rap, you know, in the streets, we used to sit in the Frankie and Johnny's pub, watching his father sing every Saturday, like, yo, my father's incredible. Yo, and we used to love him. Yeah, go Andy. Go, like, but I never had that. Me and my father always had conflict.
Right.
We had, I was 14 years old, and I left my house because I couldn't deal with my father. Was so strong. He wasn't a bad man, never used drugs, worked hard, but he was a dictator, bro.
He wasn't. You told me one time just about who you was at 14, 15, 16, moving in and out of the clubs and,
14,
selling what you were selling. And
14, I was the least likely to succeed. Kingpins, let's say the El Chapos of the Bronx, they knew about that 14-year-old. They knew I was coming. They knew he's coming. That guy right there, my Uncle Dan used to be cool with this guy named Corvetta Dave. Corvetta Dave was on the newspaper of the Daily News when he died. They killed him. He was so big. They buried him with his Corvette. This guy was already 30-something, 40 years old, kingpin and all that, and he used to tell Uncle Dan, your nephew, he's a piece of shit. They're going to kill that kid out here. Like, he's what?
And that's why your father was the way he was, though.
Yeah, people on that magnitude knew who Joe Crack was in the Bronx at 14. Do we know any kid at 14 right now?
Right.
Like, people at that magnitude was like, yo, I had a run-in with Boy George.
What?
Boy George is not Boy George the singer. Boy George is the biggest drug dealer, Latino drug dealer ever since El Chapo. He's from the Bronx. Boy George, Boy George almost gave it to me. But he said he was tired of seeing me putting in that work. If he went through Brook Avenue, Joe Crack is pounding dudes out. He goes to Cortlandt Avenue, Joe Crack is pounding dudes out. If he goes to 182, 182nd and Crescent, and this guy would pull up, and I never seen him in the same car twice. He would pull up and look, but I didn't know it was him. He already had the beard like we got young. And I'd be pounding somebody out. I never sold drugs I did when I first started, but I'm the guy who went and took your block. Like Fat Joe was not, I was doing the unfathomable, like going to other guys' neighborhood, setting up shop, and what y'all want to do. Let's get it popping out here, right? And so he would see me, pounding dudes out, chasing dudes out, for reasons. They don't pay the money, whatever the case. And one day he jumps out and he's like, yo, who's this dude right here, man? I'm tired of this dude. I'm like, I didn't know it was him. And I'm like, man, who the F you talking to, bro? Do you know this? He said, yo, I'll kill your family. I'll kill your mother. I never heard that. I'm still 15, knuckle game. Like, we wasn't even about that gunplay. He said, I'll kill your mother. I stopped. Like, like you see a deer in headlights, I stopped.
Right.
I said, huh? I said, yeah, I'll kill your mother. Immediately, I knew this guy was on another level, right? And the guy I was chasing, beating up, grabs me, Joe, it's Boy George. Please don't kill my family. Please don't kill my family. No, not my mother. Nah. I see you all over. I see you in the club. I see you. You was a piece of shit. I'm watching you. I'm like, oh my God. And so I met him again, and it was real peace, and it's crazy because I never thought he remembered me because I was not doing, I'm just 14, 15 years old getting my feet where he was kingpin. He got locked up, youngest kingpin in the world. And then one day they finally interviewed him on Don Diva, and in the thing, he was like, yo, shout out Fat Joe, man. That's my man. I know him from the show. I was like, yo, George, Boy George, remember me at 14. He was like, yo, shout out Fat Joe, siga pa'lante, boricua, do your thing, this, that. I'm like, what you said, validation?
Yeah,
like, yeah, that's Boy George,
That
man.
was it. Do you like when you tell these stories and then you hear about a lot of the way things are framed now with a lot of young people, right? With the music and the drill and this and that. And you being around it for a long time, like I often tell people like, yo, this stuff been going on. It's just now social media, is YouTube, they making songs, they commenting in the songs, like they telling on themselves in the songs and everybody can see it and track it. It seemed like there was a little bit more code of conduct.
It's cold.
Back then.
It wasn't until I heard maybe, first of all, it wasn't until, I was talking gangster from day one, but it wasn't until Onyx that I was like, oh, we could do that? It wasn't to pick them up, pick them up. They're one gun, two gun. Three. I'm like, I'm the realist. I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh, it's on now. Like, I can say whatever the hell I want to say. And then when Big was talking about my life. Jay was talking about my life. Not directly.
But something you lived.
I was living that. And so when they started that drug dealer talk, oh, we can do that? And that's when I went into Jealous One's envy. And hustling is the key to success. Money is the key to sex. The life is getting money, drinking more, getting wet. The games people play, the names people slay. It's just another ordinary. One's for the cash, two's for every blunt's ass, three's for all the 40 brews, corner crews devour. Four's for the drug, sex, and power. I be the top dollar scholar, rocking gold collars. Why you trying to sip the juice? I'm taking swallows. Step into my zone and get blown. My ways are internationally known. Like, I was like, wait a minute, is this what we're doing? Because, Flojo was bust it, check it. What? It was Daza Fed. It was bust it, check it. Watch. No. When I heard them talking that, I was like, oh, this is what I do.
Yeah.
The real line for me was Shit Is Real. Once you did Shit Is Real remix, that was when the turn happened. Once you said, when I went to visit my aunt, I stuck up my cuz.
I think I shot you. Everything. It was pretty real. The shit is real.
The shit is real was pretty real.
Yeah, you know what happens when you write about, because I got two ways of looking at this to answer your question about the drill rappers.
Or just about young people in the street right now and all that.
Let me answer this question the right way. Because we signed the bill. Me, Jay-Z, Meek Mill, a bunch of other rappers, where they're using lyrics against young dudes and sisters. If we took 10 rappers right now, if we went to the local high school and let them rap, we'd be like, yo, I got a Bentley. I got the Jordans that come out next week. Yo, I got a chain that's bigger than enough that Flavor Flav wanted it. All this is lies. These kids don't have this, right? But we know they're trying to be lyric. We know what they're doing, right? And so to take certain records that aren't true and to go to trial and take a record that says you robbed the bodega, you hit the old lady, you this, and put you in jail for 25, 30 years, this is dangerous. This is no different than the Central Park 5. Mm-hmm. It's no different. And what are we going to do? Wait 30 years from now till some senator figures out,
right?
Oh, they put him in jail for 30 years, and then we watch him on news. You know these guys we watch on news that come home that are vindicated from the Innocence Project and all.
Yeah.
These guys spent their whole life in jail.
That's right.
Their whole life in jail. Do you know what it's like spending life in jail, scared to tell a real killer, I ain't do it? I never did it.
Right.
And you learn real quick, jail, they call this a what? What is it, rehabilitation?
It's supposed to be.
What's it called? It's
supposed
a word.
To be rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation. What's it? Correctional. It's the worst. They teach you how to become a criminal now. Mm-hmm. Once you in jail, they teach you how to become a criminal. You in there, you learn how to steal. You learn how to barter. You learn how to this.
Fight,
yo, hold me
kill,
down.
Protect yourself.
Fight and kill it. Yo, grab this knife. You know how many kids went to jail that never grabbed a knife in their life, and they told them, yo, somebody from the hood said, yo, they gonna take your booty. You got to let it go.
Protect yourself.
And when you let it go, make sure you let it go in front of everybody, so everybody know you ain't no. But this is terrible.
Terrible.
These are kids that innocently were accused and went to jail for their life. I don't like it. I don't like it, Ebro. I don't want to see 22-year-old Ebro go to jail for something he didn't do and come out with the gray hairs. Like, and we're supposed to be like, yo, this is a great, like, yo, bro.
His whole life gone.
Whole life.
And it doesn't happen in other genres of music.
It doesn't. You know, so it's also attack on the brown and black community. We can't lie about that. So somebody asked me, yo, I know you signed the bill and, you know, is it really about the black and brown? I said, well, we got Eminem, we got Logic, we got 4 white boys that spit. The rest is all black and Latino. So it's like, it is a black and brown thing.
Mm-hmm. You know Logic's black, right?
Oh, I didn't know
Biracial,
that.
yeah.
I didn't know. Sorry, Logic. I didn't know.
Yeah, Logic's biracial.
Russ. You know, we got a couple of really.
Russ is white.
We got some real good ones.
Yeah.
Jack Harlow.
Let me tell you, Jack Harlow's my man.
Good
I
dude.
love Jack Harlow. If he's a star now, he's gonna end up being a super duper star. And
You need to come see Fat Joe about some of them hits. Fat Joe knows how to pick a hit.
Facts.
Well, you know what? Their hits are different, right? He got that 1, 2, you can put me in first class. The album is fire.
Right.
Yeah.
My daughter's favorite rapper. We got to watch what we say about this guy. This guy, Jack, is the man.
Listen,
Like,
you don't want to be on
in my house.
Your kid, your daughter.
the man.
You don't want to be on her bad side, B.
Listen to me. He's the man. Jack is the man. You heard as. He's the man.
No one
Like,
say nothing different.
No. I love the guy. The kid is a great kid. He's a great ambassador for hip hop. He's grinding. He's on his way up.
He
You know what's crazy
he
is-
wants to do it the right way.
Yes, and I went to the Barclays when he had the show, and I sat next to the bosses of Atlantic, and they were like, "What you think?" I said, "Yo, why are you asking me what I think? You got a guy with one album who sold out the Barclays.
Right.
This is a done deal. This guy's on fire. A couple of more hits, he's bananas."
Yeah, man. Listen, you can go see Fat Joe and hear more stories in conversation with Fat Joe. Stephen A. Smith. Was that just a text? You just text him and was like, yo, I want you to host this?
Yeah, and he did it, and that's amazing to me because, you know, everybody knows Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
You know, he comes with his A game every single time. You know, I told him yesterday, man, your voice is like, you know, Stephen A. Smith ain't no voice like that.
No.
And so it's an honor that he's gonna, you know, I started in Apollo, amateur night at the Apollo.
Yep.
So I'm coming back home 30 years later
Wow.
to sit down and explain a career.
What outfit you gonna wear? You gonna wear Timbos? And
I'm gonna be serious. Nah, not Timbos. Jordans. But my
do you still have
my
the
outfit
suit?
is crazy.
Do you still have the Grammy suit that you and Pun wore when he had the light blue on and you had the, or is that
I'm gonna
I
tell
got
you
it
what's
right?
terrible. When I was in the streets, there was a rule. You know, so my whole life I was in the streets and I want to prove that I'm the toughest guy. So they had a rule that the super killers would be like, yo, no pics. No pics. So everybody you see posing and all that, that was like non-cypher at that time. It was like, yo, don't. So Fat Joe would be, no, if I took pics when I hustled in the 80s and 88 and all that, it'd be disgusting. Like, it'd be like, people would be like, no way, this guy was that. Like, you know, we had convertible Benzes, McLaren. At that time, if you had a 190E that was 20,000, you was the man. We had $150,000 cars. We was not playing out there. Anybody my age who was in the streets, they know the truth. And so we never took pics. I was in Biggie Smalls every day. We never took pics. And, it was like, no pics. You know, we the real deal. We, no pics. And so,
So you don't have the suit that you and
I
Big
don't
Pun.
have nothing. I don't have a flyer. I don't have a picture of Fat Joe. LL's doing this show called Memorabilia or something.
Yeah, Sipes hosting it, yeah.
I have nothing.
Oh man.
Well, we
I
can
have
get you
nothing.
something.
I
Somebody
never
got
kept
something,
pictures. I've been hoping. You know, it was around my birthday. I try to lie to everybody on Instagram and be like, yo, if you got love for me, send me some old pictures. Nobody sent nothing.
You don't have the promo shirts from the albums?
Nothing. I have nothing. The one person who has something is my mother and father. They got my FloJo plaque when it went #1 on hip hop. My father got some 560 Don Carter Jr. Like my mother and father, they could keep something. Actually, I gave him the first book, the Book of Jose. I went down there and I said, yo, Ma, it's for you. I want you to have the first book. She ain't read it yet. I know it's a lot of pain.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pain.
Fat Joe, man, the Book of Jose, go get it. We love you, brother. Congratulations.
Love you too, man.
Congratulations.
You know what I'm saying? It's the TV shows and whatever you got working. You know what I'm saying? Come back through and we'll celebrate you, man.
Peter's, he's highly in love. Laura's highly in love.
By the way, Ebro's highly in love too. He just doesn't post it on the gram.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
These guys are
relationship.
posting like love stories.
Oh,
We
yeah, they go
voted.
hard. Yeah.
Yes. It took my baby to go vote.
Right? Yo, let me tell you something. My mother and father aren't in the greatest of health at all. But they was like, we voted. Like they
right.
do not play. My
Amazing.
family, my aunt just got out of COVID. And she's diabetic. And she sent me the picture. I voted.
Amazing.
And my family votes.
There's a lot of things that happened in New York City that are very positive in this last election too, that just passed. So,
Well,
shout out to everybody who got out there and voted.
Well, it's all about legalization of cannabis.
Yeah, it's heavy.
That's the prohibition.
And we could have lost
Yeah.
that
So-
if we lost the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have lost that.
We
And
really
so,
could have.
How do I pronounce her name? Correct?
Kathy Hochul.
Kathy Hochul.
Kathy Hochul, 2 days in becoming intern governor. She put that in play. Yo,
Yeah.
let's get the cannabis going.
That's right.
And then there's legal legacy entrepreneurs, black and brown people who've been arrested for the crime,
Yep.
who've been arrested for smoking, that get first dibs at having licenses.
Very important.
And so it's amazing because we don't get left out of this gold rush. LA did it different.
Yeah.
Denver did it different. They were like, yo, what happens is anything else.
The rich.
Home Depot comes in.
Exactly.
I used to go to Denver. For many years, I used to go to Denver to perform. And I would see, no disrespect, what's the right way to call it? Like,
White?
Not white, redneck, hillbilly.
Yeah, sure.
All in the plane, it was that. And then all of a sudden, they legalized weed, and I got in there, and there was girls with little cute motifs and Birkin bags, and guys, Wall Street guys.
On their way to Colorado.
Oh, no. It's what happens.
It's real
So
money.
they open up the joint, let you eat a little, and then these boys come
So
in
I'm
and
gonna
take
tell you,
over
and
everything.
then we're gonna wrap after this. But this needs to be something that you can pay attention to. Washington State, Oregon, even California, with the intention to allow first dibs to black and brown people who want to open up a cannabis dispensary. Okay, you get the license, you get a license, you get a license. Hey, oh, you need a license, you get a license. Most people have never actually ran a business before. So even if you've sold some weed before, have you ran a store before? A storefront, inventory, taxes, reporting.
I know business, but you better believe that once I get this license,
Yeah.
because I'm applying for the license.
right.
I'm a businessman, right? So I'm going, and once I get this license, you better believe I'm going to get the masters of weed to work in my store. The guys I know that have been selling weed for
But
20
also,
years.
but for the little guy, they got to protect themselves and make sure that when they get the license, they don't end up selling it to a major corporation.
That's the problem.
Because when you lose your business because you can't run a storefront and now you have this license, somebody gonna swoop down and give you some nice cash for your license.
Well,
And
it's
so
like-
what the
it's
big
like-
corporations
it's like-
end up doing
it's
is
like
they end up buying
everything-
up everybody's license.
Later,
It's
right.
like everything else. They did it to us every which way you could think of. And now this is the next one. You get licensed. If you sell out, they own it now.
Yep.
Yo, Fat Joe's Cannabis Corporation on the way.
Well, you better believe it. I'm out there. I'm kissing babies. I'm kissing ass. I'm shucking and jiving.
No, you're not.
No, I'm telling you, I'm going to get a license.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and my money trickles down. You know, next week we got 6 18-wheelers that we giving out food out there in front of my store. 6 18-wheelers.
In front of the shoe store
Up
in the
in
Bronx.
YC's. We have a school inside our store in the Bronx. Where kids come after school, don't have access to computers, teachers that teach them, people that come in to teach them. At the end of the semester, they keep the computer. We bring a new computer, new crew.
Yep.
When Fat Joe wins, the hood wins. There's just no way around that.
That sounds like this guy's running for office.
I like
So
it.
I'm definitely not running for office. Never, ever in my life. Please, guys, I'm not running. I don't want it. Don't smile at me too much. I'm a businessman.
Thank you, Joe.
Fat Joe, give it up. Yeah.